Hey guys, all right. Welcome to Decode Foundations episode 4, I think it is.
Yeah.
Or yeah, it is 4. Here's the question. We're talking about the TV show today. So does this get a numbered? Does this get a number, or do we stick to the numbered episodes are based on the book? So for instance, with the Dune episodes,
Yeah.
the Tim Cartmel episode, not numbered.
Not
The
numbered.
reaction to his episode, not numbered. So we've done like 24 episodes of Dune, and 22 of them have been numbered, and those are all related to the book directly. So I guess this is not numbered.
Well, okay. This is a
What
great
do you think?
conversation. Yeah, I don't know. Here's what I would say. Sufficiently different that these may be two, this may be, if we're going to dig deep into the Apple series, we may have to have two different threads.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah,
Decode. This could be episode 1 of Decode Dune Foundation, the Apple
TV show
that it is.
I don't like making decisions on the spot, so I'm just gonna say, hey audience, you'll find out when we know. But for now, Decode Foundation, the Foundation Show edition.
It's the Foundation Show. How the hell was that?
I like that.
Thanks. Yeah,
yeah. And this is historic. This is for me. This is cool, especially that we've built a little bit of an audience. We are now over 5,000 listens of our total run. And what am I talking about? Oh, we're literally recording an episode about a show 2 days after it was released. A couple people, Daniel Green and Quinn's Ideas, they had stuff posted on Friday, the day the episodes were released, because I think this is their full-time job. Good for them. But this is cool to be in the area of having takes on culture and content the minute it's released. Also, also just a note for the listeners who are mostly here for Dune or have been historically here for Dune, we're releasing 2 Foundation episodes in a row. We said that's not what we were going to do, but this is kind of how it has worked out. The next 2 episodes will be Dune, and we'll be back with part 3 of Foundation 3 episodes from now. So it kind of is what it is. We're dealing with the real time of the show being released. So cool. Yeah, we're now doing TV reviews. Jeff, how does that feel?
It feels great.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully one day we can do the original Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, I'd be down to branch out into this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, where to begin?
Where, indeed.
So maybe a quick level set. I have now read all but the last 5 pages of the book Foundation. And that means that I know that book. And so I'm curious. One of the things I'm going to be really curious in the show is, are there things that take place later on in the book series that they inserted earlier into the show, right? Like it's a book or 2 from now. And I'm like, this didn't happen. The Anacreonians never destroyed the bridge between Trantor and where that didn't happen.
Right to the goddamn 9/11 moment.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
That's right. I'm an alarmist. I have an alarmist type personality, Jeff. But if that happens a book or 2 from now, then I'll that will be interesting. The people who maybe like Quinn's Ideas have read all 3, if not 6 of the Foundation books probably would be able to. And I have not listened or read any reviews of the show. We're coming in fresh. For better or for worse, maybe commenting on their reviews in a future episode or something could be a cool thing to do. Comments about the comments, but we're coming in fresh. I literally watched both episodes Friday night and was immersed in completely different worlds yesterday Jeff, what do you so let's see here. So there are some stark differences between the books and the show. They start off the show with, I think the first clip is literally a young Salvor Hardin saving some kids from touching the vault where trying to touch the vault where ostensibly that is where a future Harry Seldon's thing will come out. It took me a minute.
Wait, what?
His penis will come out of the vault. No, his what's the word for it? Holographic recordings.
So his holographic dick pics
his
are
holographic
pop out of that thing.
That's right.
Okay,
that's right. Only sent. Oh, look, it's only going to come out to a consenting audience.
So whatever that was that's keeping people away, it's just like his password on your iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So that took me a minute to my wife. So my wife's hot take, just to be cute with it, she has not read the book. Her hot take after watching episode 2 and saying, based on everything you've told me about the book, this show should not be called Foundation. It should be called something else. And then the little note under the title should be based on the Foundation series.
Yeah.
By Isaac Asimov. So, Game of Thrones was the first book, but the entire series is A Song of Ice and Fire. So maybe it should be called, well, the first book is called Foundation as well. So there's a little challenge there. But so the show starts out.
Yeah.
Solver Hardin.
It's like sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm dying for you to jump in whenever you want.
I think there's a mishmash here, right? Because and this is going to make it difficult for us because this is not unlike Dune.
Yeah,
we are not. We haven't read all of the stuff, and we definitely haven't read the prequels yet.
Yeah.
So,
to give an example, so if Duncan Idaho dies in the first movie and then he comes back pretty quickly, and he fights Baron, if he participates in the fight against the Baron and the Emperor at the end of the movie, and it's like, that didn't happen in the book, we would shrug and go, but he comes back as a Gola in the next book, and it's minimal to no difference, but we don't know that about Foundation yet. So
there's stuff we don't know. I mean, there are characters who are composites.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. And then I think Rach, I think we'll meet him later. So I think he's Harry Seldon's son in the prequels.
Okay.
So there's some stuff that is mashed up. There's some people who, there's some stuff going on here. But the most notable, at least from my perspective, the most notable thing is they really created some backstory for Gaal.
Yeah.
Gaal, they're calling her Gaal.
Yeah, they're calling her Gaal.
Which is too bad, because we could be like, Gaal's a gal.
Yeah.
But it's Gaal's a gal.
Yeah.
And so she's got an interesting backstory. And I honestly, that whole thing about her being from Synax, fine. But Synax is now an anti-intellectual society, and a theocracy, right?
I have thoughts on this aspect of it. So so the gender change, I think fine, great. I like that actress quite a bit, and my wife will maybe listen to this a month from now. Cute actress, right? One of the thoughts, I'm just going to put this out there, is I have heard in my various listenings of media in critique, having a person of color in a role that comes from a place where religion is super important and has sort of esoteric and exotic practices that Gaal Dornick, if he had been cast as like the Luke Skywalker, sandy blonde hair, whatever, just sort of a Midwestern corn farmer, understood to be, essentially secularized Protestant, right? That wouldn't happen probably. And I have heard people, this is not my opinion, but I have heard people say that immediately taking people of color and putting in exotic religious practices and things that seem strange to the rest of macroculture is itself a form of bigotry. And so you'd be better off with an actress of color playing a role, and she's from, again, something that is more boring and a little bit less spicy and interesting. But it probably wouldn't be good storytelling. But that was something that jumped out to me based on my varying media critiques, is like, oh, she's from a place where they have literally like jewels in their face, and she had to have them removed. And then there's only one temple on Trantor, and it has this weird like water goddess or water god thing where they dip their hands into it. Aesthetically extremely cool, but potentially otherizing.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also not clear how she comes to have her mathematical understanding. So you miss this whole, yeah, I don't know. It's not clear to me how.
Yeah. Oh,
in a situation like that, how does she become the greatest mathematician? Literally the greatest mathematician. So great.
Little Mary Sue-ish, is I think that's what they call it.
Yeah.
Hey, here's another thing. Speaking of which, this is actually a diss on the character.
Uh-oh.
Did you notice they called her Miss Dornick in a scene instead of Dr. Dornick?
Yeah.
So she won a contest. I mean, a contest, not like a random drawing, but like she performed a mathematical theorem.
Also, was this like, sorry, let's just talk about
ahead.
the contest really quick? Because I just imagine young Ralphie sitting on the toilet with his decoder ring.
Talking about a Christmas Story?
Absolutely.
Better drink your Ovaltine.
Exactly.
A crummy advertisement.
So how does someone living on a planet that is basically an anti-science, anti-intellectual theocracy, what box of cereal or what magazine ad did she respond, like what comic book ad did she respond to, what was this test, and how did she do it, and
how did she file her, did she Dropbox them the answer, like was it on a zip drive, or a micro, or a what a portable USB thing?
Yeah, I mean, I just have a ton of questions. Like, I mean, I can suspend some of this, it's fine, but I do have some questions. I mean, she's in danger, and so she's shipped off to Trantor to follow up on this opportunity. It seems like her entire village knows now that she has this intellectual capacity. They call her a heretic, so it must have been well known. So I have questions, like why did if murdering intellectuals is part of their religious imperative, why was she allowed to leave?
Did she get smuggled? I mean, it seemed like, I mean,
they walked her out, right?
They were in their ponchos. I mean, but maybe they were in a remote enough village within the planet that they were able to be public, but not like grand scale public.
Yeah, but she also had she was an apostate before she left.
Yeah.
And someone removed, another apostate removed her stones.
Yeah.
So I just have questions about that. It's yeah. So
will we see those in future episodes? Like a question, getting
drink your Ovaltine. She's like, oh no.
Well, so the show starts 35 years in the future, showing us Salvor Hardin, which is generally a idea that they're letting us know that that's going to be coming, right? Yeah. Which is cool. I mean, it's similar to the beginning of season 5 of Breaking Bad. They show you, his hair's grown out and he's got the New Hampshire driver's license right then. So we know that something had happened. He ended up using the service to get away. He got the new ID. He blah, blah, blah. And we're like, okay. We have a semblance of like a thing. So anyway, so we know we know the reality of 35 years later with Salvor Hardin is happening. We know that there's some thing.
Yeah.
And I think that was referenced again in the beginning of episode 2. My question is,
just so you know.
Yeah.
I am only one Apple episode in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two things happened this weekend.
Okay.
One,
Yeah.
Great British Bake Off.
Yeah.
Two, I got high.
And couldn't hang with the show. Yeah, I didn't watch. I watched the show with a glass of wine, but I can't smoke and watch TV. Maybe I could smoke, do a bunch of stuff, and then 2 hours later watch something like a Curb episode. But I can't do the stereotype of like, let's drain a bowl and then like watch The Hobbit. Not fucking happening.
That's not, yeah, not me.
No.
So I need you to know that. So
Okay. I don't want to spoil anything for you. I thought that
but there's so much to talk about
in episode one.
in episode one. Like,
Sure.
so we were talking about
Okay.
departures from the book.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, where do we,
Yeah.
like, there's so much to talk about.
Okay. So there's not the Entun dynasty. Well, so Kleon was, so we for the listeners, we referenced the Entun dynasty and I called him the last rightfully guided emperor, which is in fact an homage to the first four caliphs of Islam. If you didn't know that, I just spoiled it for you. But anyway, so Kleon was allegedly the last rightfully guided Entun. He was last rightfully guided, and then from there it kind of declined, and then they were removed from the plate completely. And then there was Emperor Chen, was it? He was the one who ultimately sent Selden to Terminus.
Yes.
But I digress. So instead,
already we're in a good spot.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Instead of, so we still have Entuns, it would seem, but sorry, let me organize my thoughts. There are a triad of emperors who, by all accounts, are clones.
They are clones who were
yes.
decanted at different times. So you have, so they're different age groups, and together they rule. But it seems like the middle one is the most rulery of the three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, see, if you could meet yourself simultaneously at your current age when you were 8 years old, and then when you were much older, or
if 8-year-old me met me now, there'd be a fight.
You'd fight an 8-year-old?
No, the 8-year-old would fight me.
Oh.
Probably win too, the little fucker.
Yeah.
Anyway, that would just be bananas. If you have siblings, you already know this ain't gonna work out. There's first of all endless fucking pranks until someone cries or gets real mad. There's not going to be a lot of respect.
Yeah.
Lots of farting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's what we don't know. We don't know.
Wouldn't you just spend a whole fucking day farting with your clones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course I would.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, now I want this.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, there's a handful of things I would do. I'm weird. I'd probably try to get something like a love triangle going, right? Like I'd meet someone, we'd start courting, and then I'd be like, hey, older me, like go in with some like flat, like, look, we know I don't have any money, but like flash some money, like do something like I wouldn't do, and then like report back to me like what you know, like that, there's like those YouTube things of like the guy is like, hey, he's like walking out of a grocery store and he's like, hey, do you want to like get a coffee later? And she's like, oh no, I have a boyfriend. And then like he clicks his Ferrari's right, and then she's like, oh, I mean, I think a lot of those are staged anyway. Maybe not, but
I also think they're awful and they trade on horribly misogynistic.
Yeah.
Anyway, but whatever. Yes, I do know what you're talking about, and I would totally do that.
Yeah.
I would send in little me with I like this game already. You sexualized it, and that's interesting. I'm not going to kink shame you.
Yeah, I usually my mind usually goes towards that kind of deviousness.
Yeah.
Actually,
and obviously I went toward fart jokes. This really has to do with the age difference between us, right?
Actually, speaking of which, speaking of that, so Patrick Donabedian, I respond to his Instagram stories every once in a while, but I responded to one of his where he shared someone else sharing praise of him as a teacher, and I was like, they worship you. And then he responded like, join our cult. And I was like, I don't think you and I will ever be able to be on that level because I have my own leanings towards wanting to be a cult leader.
Exactly.
And I don't know if our counter cultish, I was like, but to be honest, Patrick, I view you more as a militaristic leader, and I view myself more as a traditional cult leader where bizarre sex practices end up happening.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, you should ask Jeff Hacker. I played music today that was pretty cultish. And I was like, oh, Patrick, you are just sweet. You are a sweet man, but you are not the evil. You are not evil like I am. You are a nice boy. And you are a military leader of men. And I'm a little bit more on the, there'd be, if I had a cult, it would probably end up going sideways. So we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But that's where.
But it would be beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
So the emperors are clones allegedly from the dynasty, the Entun dynasty. Not that it matters; it was barely mentioned in the. But what we don't know is if in book 5, 20,000 years in the future, whenever the hell it happens, this concept is going to be in there, and they just said, snip, put it in here earlier. Why not?
Could be.
So what are some other differences? Anacreonians and folks from, holy shit, is this episode 2 or is this episode 1? Shit, now I do.
Well, no, in episode 1, the Anacreons and the Thespis people show up. They're right. There's the yeah. So there's yes.
I was gonna say it would be helpful. My mind has merged the 2 episodes into one viewing, and I want to try to remember.
That's okay.
Okay,
just go for it. I'll be
all right. What were you saying then?
Just that the Anacreons and the Thespis, they show up in the episode 1.
Okay.
Remember the
delegation.
They disintegrate the mural cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
And then later, actually, okay. They disintegrate the mural cleaner, and then later they take those the envoys from the 2 planets. They take them to meet the 3, and they make some comment while they're passing the mural, the Anacreon. That's like foreshadowing some of the issues, right?
What was the comment? I may have missed that moment, or
he
I'll remember.
Murmurs something. I can't remember exactly what he says, but then he gets called out for like basically chewing gum or talking in class. Like, oh, nothing. It's amazing or whatever, right? Just admiring it.
Yeah.
And then okay, there's some shit's gonna go down, right?
Right. So is Thespis? I don't recall Thespis being. I know that Anacreon is at war with, I think, 4 other planetary systems, and they come out obviously on top in the book. We've already established that that's the end of book 2. They don't have nuclear power. That's in the book. I mean, part 2 of the book. Is Thespis listed, or is that a new original? It really doesn't matter. By the way, is that a Nile shirt you're wearing?
Is that a what?
The band Nile? No, the shirt under your hoodie.
Conan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a band, Conan.
Yeah.
Which I think you'd like. Okay, so so first of all I can think of when I hear this planet's name is this little piece of audio here.
Oh yeah, Thespian.
Yeah, the master
and now
thespian.
we bring you another page from the diary of the world's greatest actor, Master Thespian.
I'm a thespian.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
For us in post-production, but that's all I can think of is that dude just walking around going, because I'm a thespian. That juice was probably not worth the squeeze, but still funny.
It is what it is. We're here.
Yeah. Okay. So and that leads us to the big 9/11 moment, which I honestly, I'm going to tell you, this is my hot take while I watch that unfold.
Uh-huh.
I ask myself why the producers, the people who made this,
Mhm.
why they believe that the only thing, so like in the books, it is enough for Emperor Chen to believe that Harry Seldon may be correct. He
Mhm.
has his own reasons, his own sort of machinations in there, but it's literally enough to think like, okay, well, maybe this shit's legit
Right.
to get him to act.
Right.
What do the producers of this fine work think that their audience needs in order to justify any action?
9/11.
Yep, it's just fucking stupid. Like, I am
Yeah.
a little down on the whole apocalyptic bullshit.
Mhm.
If you listen to the most recent Chapo, where they have another chat with the science fiction author and Marxist Kim Stanley Robinson.
Yeah. Are we going to get into his books, you think, at all? I
hope so.
I am not familiar with him, but I haven't read any of his stuff, but
I absolutely hope so. I definitely hope so. So but anyway, I absolutely agree with him. This idea that it's all zombie apocalypse, it's all like that it's at the end has to justify any sort of real action, especially in this moment, right, where we are kind of staring down the barrel of real profound change that is forced upon us.
Mhm.
I don't know why it has to be, why this symbology is necessary to stir us to action. And honestly, I think it's the whole thing is stupid. And then for those who don't know, there's no such thing as the Sky Bridge in the books.
Right.
Literally, they just stuck it there in order to have a 9/11 moment.
Yeah. Is that a canard? Let me Google that. Is that the word? Is that the right word?
A canard is a duck, right?
Yeah.
Is a canard someone from Ottawa wearing
an unfounded rumor or story. Okay, so that's,
you ruined my joke.
Sorry.
Ruined my joke.
What was it?
I asked if a canard was someone from Ottawa wearing only denim. No,
I don't know if I get it. So I know wearing nothing but denim is called.
It's a play on Canadian and some other word that we're not supposed to use.
The R word?
It could go on, possibly. Now every Canadian that's ever listened to us,
and they're wearing all denim because wearing
that's a Canadian tuxedo, right?
Yeah, right. Okay.
It was a bad joke at the expense of very nice people to our north.
Yeah.
Sorry, all of Canada, except for those of you who only speak Quebecois.
Yeah.
You didn't understand me anyway, so no harm, no foul.
Yeah. So quick aside, since I'm all coffeed up. Quebecois is the French spoken in like 1750s or whatever. Yeah.
So it hasn't really changed since then.
Yeah. It's borderline. It's not in a language isolate. Usually needs a little bit more time to be considered, like a couple more thousand years or whatever. But definitely. It is not your Spanish, Mexico, and Mexican Spanish and Spain Spanish, and then you travel to either country and you totally get it. And there's just some slang that's different. It is like showing up in a place where they're speaking Shakespearean English.
That's right. There's a friend of mine who is from Montreal, and I used to work out there, Montreal. Yeah. Explain to me, and I can't remember the exact how this breaks down, but basically snowmobile, very important word in the Canadian lexicon.
Mm-hmm.
The Quebecois word is like this weird amalgamation of words that would have existed in 1750, because they don't adopt English words the way the French do. So, and they don't make new words. So so new words get made out of old words.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah, yeah. And so in French, I think the very northern part of France probably has some snow, right? They would have something that is a new word that matches.
Yeah, exactly right.
Probably a Latin or a Greek base to it in the same way that television, that kind of thing. Okay. So where else to go with this thing? Other differences. Yeah. So we don't know if the three emperor, I will say this. It's so, yeah, we could talk about casting. We could talk, I would like to revisit. So a couple things. I'd like to revisit the idea that we get a glimpse of what Terminus looks like, and it's definitely not what I would think Terminus looks like, I guess. I don't know if I really pictured Terminus. We could talk about casting. So I like Gaal instead of who in my mind it would have been reading the book only. And I told you offline to the audience, I said, or sorry, in episode 2, I said I have to be transparent with the audience. I watched the trailer and it tracks the general story of what I know, but I'm having a hard time placing most of these characters other than Selden. Turns out that's just because Gaal is who she is, and I didn't know that was going to be happening. Jared Harris as Selden, I think is perfect. I love Jared Harris, and I think similar to in the same way, Timothy Chalamet is a perfect Paul Atreides in my mind. I think Jared Harris is a perfect Selden. I'm going to be honest, what I've briefly seen from trailers and the snippets of Terminus, the actor who plays Salvor Hardin, not really my vibe, not what I was picturing. You know who I was picturing? And of course, yeah, I was picturing someone exactly like the sheriff in Tombstone in the movie, which of course that actor wouldn't work, but Behan, right? So let me send you a photo of Behan, or I could just pull it up. I was picturing someone very much like this, up to and including like just the general, I don't know, the politician style. Now what we saw is so far it looks like a very young Salvor Hardin, and obviously more in more in outdoor gear, that kind of thing. So it might be contextually like they might show her at an office later, but it is a little strange. Let's see here. I'm having a real. Let me just share the link of this image. I'm having a real hard time with this.
Okay.
And I'll share this in the show notes. But this is.
You just sent me a YouTube link. Is that right?
No, I was trying to attach an image, but it looks like you can only do that from.
Oh, here we go.
Google Drive. I don't have it in my Google Drive. I've saved it to my computer.
Okay. So yes.
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah.
So who else? I guess for what little I know of the 3 aged emperors, they seem cool. I like Lee Pace quite a bit. He's always got a serious gravitas to him, like as Thranduil in The Hobbit. And then apparently he was. Did you, as a tech guy, did you get into *Halt and Catch Fire*?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I'm rambling here. What about? So here's what I will say about the bridge. It did have a good spectacle to it, and based on some of the images, they got what I thought Trantor would look like. The imagery of the show, I think, is great, and that scene did make me say, "Wow, Apple TV must have put a lot of money into this." What are the budgets for these shows? Like I've heard that the per episode, like, so Game of Thrones, the final season was like the most expensive per episode show ever. And then I heard that they were like, oh, what Apple TV and Prime are prepared to do is going to dwarf all that shit. Right. So Lord of the Rings is probably going to be amazingly epic per episode. And obviously it looks like this is going to be as well. So
Yeah. So I guess I wanted to dig more into sort of why the showrunners decided to to have an act of terrorism on the part of the Anacreons be the thing that kicks off this deal. I also have a question of why Harry Seldon's group is forced to travel for 3 years or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't really, I mean, I guess I understand that they wanted that this is going to be a time to bounce around in the universe. I read an article from the it's like an interview with or it's a result of interviews with the showrunner, and he talks about how he's remixed all of the works, so the prequels, the three foundation books, and the sequels. And then he's just going to move around in time as he sees fit. The three emperors is really just an amalgamation of the Kleonic Empire, right? So this will just give us consistency in characters across this deal. But anyway, I think they could be great choices. I'm excited to see where it goes. It's just fascinating to me. And the thing that, as I started to talk about earlier, the thing that just kills me though, is that the writers felt like this was the only kind of event that we would respond to. And I'm starting to get a little ticked off with it. Like, things are bad. And the idea that it takes some kind of like fucked up act like that to forward action, I think is part of, it's more part of the problem than it is part of any solution. And I go to science fiction, not to really to escape, but to think about possibility. And so this particular touchback to our own recent history just feels heavy-handed, and like it just echoes like mistrust of the audience. And so I just, in particular, just did not appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe especially when you look at the idea that, again, the envoys displayed exotic dress and exotic style.
The Anacreons, to me, it seemed like Mesoamerican, like the offering of that bow. It just had this sort of Mesoamerican feel to it. I also fucking hated that.
Yeah,
I mean, amazing if the Anacreons are going to be like are going to be like the Aztecs or the Incans or the Mayans or some amalgamation of those cultures. I mean, that by itself could be interesting, and some kind of science fiction set in a world where North America had all the same culture, but had a leapfrog in technology. Like those ideas sound amazing to me. But just making the bad guys seem brown, like just fucked up. Like
brown, and then also like Finnish white. Like
exactly.
The thespians were on that, uber Aryan side of it, where it's like literally like they had like blue and blue. They had spice eyes, if you noticed. And then pearly.
Oh, is that possible in modern day filmmaking? I wasn't aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
It just seems unnecessary. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. A little tropish.
Kind
of been done. It's been done.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to trash these guys. I assume, because there's a lot. I mean, they really spent their money, and it shows. Like, it's just beautiful the way this thing is put together. But this particular choice, not cool.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So the trial pretty much went as it does in the book. The description of what's going to happen, or sort of the story of the empire, they changed it to 500 years instead of 300 for some reason, but whatever. The shortening of the Dark Age, fine. The idea of creating a foundation, fine. The fact that they end up on Terminus and that was what was desired all along, fine. I'm going to spoil just one aspect of episode 2 for you. It's just that a lot takes place on the ship. The transport, I believe, is sorry, let me take a step back. I believe that what they're going to do is spend maybe season 1, it does say that Salvor Hardin, the actress, according to IMDb, is in every episode. So maybe it's just tiny little clips per episode, but it's possible.
You're talking about Gail's, the actress that plays Gail?
No, sorry. No, the actor who plays Salvor Hardin, the mayor.
Salvor Hardin, yeah.
She is in every episode. She's in I think 8 episodes. So it might just be a little clip of her every episode, but I could see something happening like all of season 1 is basically part 1 of the book with small little images of what happens in other, or maybe halfway through the season. But just to give you the spoiler, episode 2, a lot of it takes place during the slow transport. And they do show some of the bureaucracy of the foundation itself. So
yeah,
that's maybe when you're asking why are they not allowed to do jumps? It's because the showrunners felt like they needed time to develop things. Yeah. So that's that. So all right. Anything else we want to talk about with this show, with this episode? Or do we want to wrap this and move on to Dune?
Yeah, I think we can wrap it here. I just think, despite my heavy sort of negative critique of that one plot device, otherwise, it looks great. It feels great. I just love when science fiction adaptations work for the screen. So I think The Expanse for me is probably in recent memory has been like my favorite. So I'm very, very, very excited for this. I can't wait to watch the rest of the episodes and get caught up.
Yeah. Did you feel, I have heard out there on the internets that the last season of The Expanse took a nosedive and they really robbed people of the ending that was deserved? Is that something, I don't know anything about it. Is that something you experienced as valid?
Yeah, but yes, I think that's fair to say. But since one of the stars of the show gave me a kiss in the airport, I'm willing to overlook it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep. Aside from marrying my wife, highlight moment.
Yeah. All right. Well, so we're going to have to show audience. We're going to have to figure out what we're doing with this show, because here's something I really like. I am an HBO man. I watch Netflix shows, certainly. I have always really disliked the everything available at once model that Amazon Prime and Netflix do. I find it really cheapens the feeling of it. Even in watching Sopranos on HBO, and obviously it's all available because it's all in the past. Even that, we will limit to 2 episodes at one viewing, and then we will finish a season, and then we'll take a couple months off, and then we'll start on the next season. I feel that binge watching ends up leaving you feeling gross the way binge eating does. Yeah. So I'm just saying Apple TV is doing the HBO model that they've stuck to, which is it's primetime TV. Get your popcorn and be ready. Friday night is when it's going down.
That's it.
Sunday night. I believe that is the way. So anyway, what I'm saying is, audience, we're gonna have to figure out how we do, how we fit this into our recording. Maybe next meeting, it will be episodes 2, 3, and 4 all at once, based on when they're released and when we record. Maybe it'll just be 2 and 3. We'll see. But anyway, so this is Decode Foundation, unnumbered episode TV review.
Yeah.
Give us notes. This is our first time reviewing media, no less, this quickly after it was released, and I didn't have the notes that I thought I had. So anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. You know where to find us. All right.
Bye. Bye.
All right.
Like and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast. And to hear more readings, become a Patreon supporter at Patreon/Decode Podcast.